Hello and welcome to TCR UK for 2023. It's Snetterton, it's Andy McEwen, lead commentator. I'm Paul O'Neill, good to see you. Anthony Jordan, good to see you back as well, fella. Wowzers, 2023, last year was amazing, but new cars, new drivers, loads of prize money, same old action.
I think so. I think we're in for a lot of fun this year. You know, we've got a really strong grid. Qualifying that took place yesterday has already thrown up a few surprises, I think it's fair to say. And yeah, with a whole host of new drivers coming into the championship too, it is anyone's guess who the pace setters are likely to be. So yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Outgoing champion, or champion from last year, Chris Smiley, new Honda, same as last year, picked it up late, had a little bit of a sensor problem, got the sensor flown in, did the business in qualifying, but wasn't right at the sharp end though.
Wasn't right at the sharp end, and to be fair, I think the team and everyone expected that. You know, it is brand spanking new. They are working on it still. A lot of development still going into the car. So, like you say, as soon as it's done this weekend, it's going back to Italy. So it's a brand spanking new car. It's chassis number 001. It's in full development still. So yeah, the fact that they've even got a P5, technically P4 now, is quite incredible. Yeah,
it's good effort, isn't it? Everybody fearing the Gen 2 cars, the Audis. Didn't really come off, did it, yesterday in qualifying?
No, I think the pace is there in the Audis particularly. I think this is a really good circuit for the Audis. The traction they've got out of the low-speed corners, that's really going to come into play here at Snetterton. They've just had a few niggly little issues. I think it was a fuel pump issue for Jack Constable. He wasn't able to qualify. I know Joe Marshall was complaining of a couple of issues as well. The pace is there, though, and I think perhaps Porsche Racing, Rob Boston Racing, they'll be looking more to race 2. Just get through race 1, bank some points, finish in the top 10. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see an Audi on the top step of the podium by the end of the day. But yeah, certainly not been the ideal debut for that car in the championship.
Yeah. Little note on Brad Kent, was on the pole, picked up the money, the championship prize money for that, had to give it back. What's your understanding of that?
I think the rumours in the paddock, well, we've heard that ride height was an issue as well, but I think one of the sensors on the car, if I'm right in saying, was at fault. So, yeah, a real shame for Brad, because you think he was so happy with that one, the team was so happy, and I think it was well-deserved as well, because like, you think of all the things that happened last year, 23-3 to start, it's not gone his way, has it?
Yeah, no, not at all. I'm sure he'll come back and he'll bounce back. He starts at the back. Let's just go back to the front, though. Area Motorsport front row. Wow, they did the business in Civic Cup. They were good last year. They were in the championship hunt, but they've started with a bang.
Well, they've got all 4 of their cars in the top 5 on the grid. And they're looking really strong, and of course that's 2 different kinds of a Hyundai now, because we've got Josh Files racing with us for the first time, debuting the Elantra, and that thing was a rocket ship yesterday. I think they're obviously in for a strong season. They do this though, don't they, Area? Like you say, they arrive not just with a lot of cars, but they put good drivers in their cars. They're engineered well, and they're always towards the pointy end. Even they, though, weren't without their drivers yesterday. Bruce Winfield's got a bit of an engine issue, we believe, put in a really strong qualifying effort, but the car was covered in its own oil by the end of the session. So that's a bit of a concern. Adam Shepherd's had some niggly problems too, but when the cars work, they are really, really quick. And of course, having Josh in the garage now, the others are able to feed off his wealth of TCR experience too. So the only way is up.
Yeah. Anything else to look out for within the big grid we've got?
It is a big grid. There's lots of drivers, and like you say, when we first watched qualifying yesterday, well, before qualifying, we couldn't put it on anyone. We had no idea who was going to be putting it at the sharp end. We've got some form of idea now, but every driver after the session even said then that I made a mistake or I got caught in traffic. I was 5/10 up. You know. I can go much quicker. So I still actually can't put it on anyone, because I think everyone's going to come through. I mean, Brad obviously starting at the back. Granted, he's got that 10-second delayed start as well. So he's got some work ahead of him, but I reckon he's going to try and fight through the field. It's going to be a scrap. It's going to be a scrap. It's going to be a good one.
I think it's going to be a special race to watch. Like you say, cars getting faster through the race weekend. It's quite cool here at Brands Hatch as well. Brands Hatch, we're at Snetterton. It's a good start to the year, isn't it? Tell you what, it's a slow lap round Brands Hatch if it is. But anyway, we're going to meet the drivers now, the new drivers. Let me introduce you to them, so watch this.
It's Alistair Camp, 45 for Pro Alloys.
I'm Carl Boardley. I'm racing for Zest Race Engineering with a Cooper Leon.
Dan Kirby, Zest Race Car Engineering.
My name is Jensen Brickley, and I'm racing for Jensen Brickley Racing this year.
I'm Josh Files. I'm racing for Area Motorsport in TCR UK. Hi, I'm Lewis Brown and I'm racing with Chameleon Motorsport.
My name's Oliver Cottam, I'm racing for Porsche Racing in the Audi TCR.
It's Rick Carey and I'm racing in the Seat Leon Cooper R with AFM Racing.
Hi, I'm Gary Townsend, racing with Porsche Motorsport.
Joe Marshall, Rob Boston Racing.
What's your race number and why did you choose it?
So race number's 41 and I've been racing cars since I was around about 18 years old, which believe me is quite a while now. So yeah, it's just been the number that I got given to start with, and it's just stuck and we've stayed with it ever since.
Race number 72. I'd originally chose 22, but apparently it was Chris Smiley's number from last year that asked me to change. So 72 is the year I was born, which makes me very old. And it's also when I first started racing in XR3s back in the 90s.
Race number was 99, because when I used to play F1 on the Xbox, I used to have 99 as my custom character, so I just chose that one.
When did you start racing?
I started racing about 10 years old, 11 years old. Started off in cars in Asia, then moved over to the UK to for more challenge.
1986 in a Hillman Imp.
Initially I started on motorbikes, motocross. My dad used to race bikes, so the straightforward thing was to go to that, and then ended up switching over to 4 wheels rather than 2. And then yeah, at the age of 8 I got my first car, and then it just, the years gone by, and now we're here racing a proper touring car.
What do you drive day to day?
Day to day, I've got a Porsche 911, GTS 992, and Range Rover Sport is what I use most days.
Bentley Bentayga.
Choice of Range Rover Sport and an 8 Series Coupe BMW.
Mercedes Sprinter van.
Van, Vito. I've got a van at the minute, Mercedes Snetterton, yeah. Get all the dogs in the back, so it's handy.
What's your favourite touring car of all time?
My favourite touring car would be...
That's a tough one. That is a tough one.
Touring car all time. I'd like the Audi A4 that Frank Bela used to race.
Honda Super Tourers.
Like their old Renault Lagunas, really. They were quite smart in the day, and the Mondeos.
I probably quite like the Volvo Estates.
My favourite touring car of all time is Cooper Leon Competition.
Who's your sporting hero?
Sporting hero, well, it's Ayrton Senna, because I've named my son after him, Ayrton, and I've got a dog called Senna as well, so the neighbours think we're mental when we call them both in.
Rob Boston.
Probably Carl Larson, NASCARs.
I'll say it's my dad. I kind of followed him.
Probably Hamilton, to be honest, Lewis Hamilton. I do admire the way that he carries himself and the way that he sort of faces adversity and silences the critics on track. So yeah, I'd probably say Lewis Hamilton.
What's your favourite track to race at?
Well, in club racing, Cadwell Park. But I think on the sort of more upmarket things, the Donington Park, really.
Donington Park's always been a good track to me, always had a lot of success there.
My favourite track is Alton Park.
I think there's a lot of good circuits. For me, I would probably go between Thruxton and Brands Hatch GP.
Who's your best mate on the grid?
Best mate on the grid? Scott Sumter. I go to college with him, it's good fun.
TCR, Bruce Winfield, legend.
On the grid, it's got to be Carl Baldley this year, isn't it?
I haven't got any.
Front wheel drive or rear wheel drive?
Front wheel drive.
Front wheel drive.
Rear.
Front wheel drive for me now.
Front wheel drive.
Front.
Doesn't matter as long as it's fast.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Tea. Coffee.
Coffee.
Tea.
Tea.
Who's going to win the championship?
Alex Lee.
I'd obviously love to say myself. I'll be giving it a good go, but I think Chris Smiley's got a good chance of getting it again this year.
I mean, Smiley's your favourite, isn't he? Let's be honest.
I think it's between Chris Smiley or Adam Shepherd, I think.
I don't know, but hopefully we're up there.
Me.
Me.
Me, of course.
Woohoo! We are back. TCR UK looking the strongest it's ever been. It's 2023. I'm Paul O'Neill. We're at Snetterton. Anthony Jordan next to me and lead commentator for this particular series. We love you, Andy McEwen. Do you love TCR UK?
It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. It's been good to me over the years, and do you know what? It's so nice to see the level we're at right now, the sun shining, Easter weekend, massive crowd here at Snetterton as well, and let's hope we can put on a show for them.
A lot of people here, a lot of people looking at the cars. Grid walk, I've never seen so many people interested. Yeah. Massive hype over the winter.
Yeah, absolutely, and rightly so. You know, last year was a massive step forward for the championship. It was really important that we continue to build and grow from that this year. And, you know, the whole team at TCR UK have done a mega job of doing that. We've got an even bigger grid, a much higher quality grid even than last year, though, and I think that will really show in the racing product.
For sure. You crack on, mate. You're needed. Your vocals are needed on the commentary. I'll be joining him in a second. AJ, this is amazing, isn't it? You've been around the paddock. You've spoken to quite a lot of the guys. You heard about qualifying. We've got a couple of stories, haven't we? Brad Kent at the back. He was on pole. Infringements apparently with that car.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a disaster for him this weekend. You know, he had disasters last year. Looked like it was going to go all his way for the start of the 2023 season, but unfortunately, yeah, starting at the back with a 10-second start delay as well, so he's got a bit of a challenge ahead of him. Yeah, technical issues. Ride height was not on, and a sensor failure as well, meaning, yeah, it straight to the back of the grid, which is a huge shame for him. But, you know, it's a challenge for him. He's a good peddler. I reckon he can come through. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, AJ. Listen, I'll let you go. Let's go and speak to Josh Files. He's inherited pole position. Joshua, can we have a word with Mr. TCR? Josh Files, good to see you, Captain. You're looking great. Car's looking amazing. Area Motorsport, wow. Done the job, haven't they?
Yeah, we had a good winter test. God, that's the loudest thing in the world, by the way. We had a good winter testing programme. All the lads, Alex, Bruce and Adam, have done a really good job as well. I'm just here for a bit of a fun time for this event at the minute. But yeah, to have our 4 cars in the top 5 is just testament to the work we've put over the winter. So collective result, brilliant. And then from here, I'm able to just go and win a race.
Could we have you full time?
Let's see how this weekend goes, and you never know.
Yeah. All right, mate, leave you to it. Have a good one. Spot on. Josh Files, a lot of TCR stuff, a lot of titles. He is Mr. TCR. That is how we talk about him. Bruce Winfield, fantastic result. Area Motorsport, absolutely amazing. 1, 2, and I think they have a 3rd and a 5th. 3. 1, 2, 3, 5. How good is that? Area Motorsport looking absolutely spot on. I want to have a quick word, if I can, with Chris Smiley before he gets in the car. Ada Shepherd getting in there. Chris will be flat out trying to get in the car. I know that for a fact. New car, just a little quick word on it. FL5 Honda. Mate, fair play for where you've qualified, because you haven't driven this thing a lot, have you?
I think we've done probably about 20 flying laps in it. And we still have this intermittent electrical problem. It just cuts off. So yeah, it is what it is. You know, I'm delighted to be where we are on the grid. We just need to capitalise on where we are and bring home a few points. That's the main thing.
Think you can finish?
Yeah.
Okay, top man. Listen, you crack on. Amazing stuff. Okay, let's see if I can just get down. I wanted to speak to Oliver Cottam, so we're going to get a bit further down. Hopefully, I can get down there before they all get on their way. I'm going to try and get down. Let's see how far we can actually get, because Oliver Cottam is a 16-year-old TCR driver, and he is a very, very good driver, and a very young driver as well. First of the Audi TCRs just here. We expected him to be a bit further up, to be fair, but I've got my eye on Joe Marshall. I do think that Joe can have a win or a reverse grid or something along the lines. I would expect that Audi in his hands to do a good job, but Oliver Cottam as well, to be fair to him, he's fast, and if he can just get away, keep out of trouble, I think this 16-year-old can do one of the better jobs of the Audis. Hello, gentlemen. Oliver, I know you're getting ready, you're trying to crack on with things, but quick word. You've done all right, mate, but it could be better. You could be somewhere a bit further up if it wasn't for being held up.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think from this position is what happened. I think just move forward and see what happens, especially with the top 10 reverse grid.
Is that what you're aiming for? Just points in the first race and then maybe a reverse grid? You could maybe get on the podium?
Yeah, that is the plan. That is the plan. And hopefully be one of the youngest podium sitters.
Top man. Right, 16, I'll let you go. You've got to get all belted up, and I think some of the Paul Sheard lot are touching me where I didn't really want to be touched. You didn't see that in vision, but that that fella there with the grey hair looks like Philip Schofield. That's Pep, and yeah, I didn't really appreciate that, to be fair. Right, cool. Let's get on down. I did want to speak to Brad Kent, but he is at the very back of the grid, so I will try and get down there, but it is a long, long way. But you only have to look at the whole of the field now. TCR it's arrived. I think, for me personally, doing a lot with tin tops and touring cars, the series arrived for me last year. But this year, these cars look absolutely phenomenal. The work that people have put into them, they look absolutely brand new. Matthew Wilson, a bit late getting in his car there. Having a bit of a hands device issue. You okay, mate? He's like the smallest person on planet Earth. You know when you see like karters and stuff who got big helmets on, he can't even do his helmet up. He's got Nick Beaumont sticking his helmet on for him. What a fruitcake. Darrell Wilson, everyone's having helmet problems actually. I'm going to have a quick word with Darrell because I know he's probably quick one, mate. I know you've got to get in the car. Oh God, I just probably volleyed myself there. Darrell, car's looking absolutely mint, mate, but an old car and you're up against it really because it's not the most technically advanced, is it?
No, yeah, like I said, everybody actually got more development work than us. Like the car's like 7 years old, where some of the cars are like brand new this year. So, yeah, we're struggling a bit. We got straight line speed. Everybody knows that's just fast and straight line, but coming to the corner is not the best. But yeah, we should pick up pace. I didn't think I would be this far back, technically. I was hoping to be at the more of the middle pack. But yeah, you know me. I got a good start. I'll get in there. Along with the car last year, I'll be up there.
Top man. Leave you to it. Thank you, Darrell. Good luck, team. Have a good one, boys. Top team, we like those boys. Rick Kerry getting involved. I know he had a couple of issues with the rear of the car moving around, had a couple of spins. They're all on good looking tyres to me. Gary Townsend probably wanted to be further up than he is, and I know George Jackson had a couple of problems as well. Let's try to get down to Brad Kent if we can. He's got a 10-second time penalty as well. When the red lights go off, he's got 10 seconds to wait because Jack Constable, who's had a nightmare as well, hasn't actually done a proper lap in that Audi. He's going to have a bit of a nightmare too. They're going to get dropped off the jacks. Let's get a quick word if we can, if that's all right. All right, lads. I like these lot, even though they're southern, they seem all right. Brad, I'm so sorry to come and see you, mate. Had that pole position taken off you, technical infringement, can't do anything about it. 10-second penalty, what do? You're going down, by the way. So, 1 sec.
Mind your legs.
Mind your legs. There we go. I'm half deaf after that. Sorry I've had to come and interview you about it, but, mate, you must be gutted.
I mean, we're gutted, but at the same time, we know that we've got the speed. It showed yesterday that we out-qualified everyone in front of us. Sorry, I've got a radio in my ears and someone's coming through to me. So we know we're quicker than them in front of us, so I don't see why we can't do and get through everyone. It's just gutting, isn't it? I mean, when we go out there and beat them fair and square, we think we're fair and square, and then something comes back like a wheel speed sensor that is basically out of our control and out of everyone else's control. What can we do?
Well, listen, mate, I think you're going to get fired up. Everyone's getting you away from the grid. Don't want to get you a penalty. That's a grid walk done. I'm glad we got to the back. Watch out for this man. Even though he's got 10-second penalty, he's going to be up in the field. See you in a bit.
Let it go.
For voice and data solutions at speeds that are simply out of this world, choose Maximum Networks.
Well, here we go then. TCR UK for 2023 is about to get underway. The hype is real ahead of the 6th season of racing in TCR here in the United Kingdom. It could, should, and I think will be the best season yet. And that is saying something, because the last couple of years in particular have been absolutely mega. The racing has been fantastic, and we're expecting more of the same again here from Snetterton and from the rest of the season. Andy McEwen here in the commentary box. Paul O'Neill will be joining me very shortly, and we are looking forward to talking you through all of the action over the next half an hour or so. Cars heading round on their formation lap, and the Snetterton 300 circuit, the host venue for this round. We were here at the end of last year in very different conditions on the shorter 200 layout. The 300 layout, though, the full circuit here in Snetterton, which provides just a few more overtaking opportunities, which I'm sure the drivers will be taking full advantage of. The weather conditions here on this Easter Sunday, pretty favourable. We've got ambient temperatures in the low teens. Says broken clouds. Yeah, I suppose that's about right. Actually, a few more clouds coming over than we had a while ago, but it's bright, it's sunny, it's warm. We've got a big crowd here. The atmosphere down on the grid walk just now was absolutely incredible. The excitement palpable, and everyone ready and raring to go. So cars have made their way around on their tyre rotation lap. This is so that the tyres, the teams can swap over the tyres from front axle to rear axle, left to right side, just making sure that they have equal tyre temperatures and pressures across all four corners of the car. Really important in front-wheel drive touring car racing on slick tyres. After this, they will be released onto another green flag lap, and then we will be racing for 25 minutes here to get the season started. So many great storylines coming in to this first race of the season. We've just heard the slightly negative storyline, which was Brad Kent, who has lost his pole position after the technical infringement yesterday. A real shame for him. He'll be starting off the back of the grid with that 10-second penalty, but that promotes Josh Files onto pole position. Josh, on his debut in TCR UK, is his first pole position in the championship, becomes the 18th different driver to set a pole position time through a qualifying session in TCR UK. Doesn't yet know what his plans are for the rest of the season. Of course, Josh has been racing in TCR Europe over the last number of seasons, and that unfortunately coming to an end ahead of 2023. He finds himself back here in his home country, and we are very, very happy to have him. He's running with Area Motorsport in one of the new-ish Hyundai Elantras, only in about its third season of international TCR competition. The first time we've ever seen it race on British shores. Not the only car making its UK TCR debut, of course. We've got the Gen 2 Audis, the RS3 LMSs, 4 of those out on the track, being run 2 cars each across Rob Boston Racing and Paul Sheard Racing. And also, very excitingly, the Honda Civic Type R, the FL5 Honda Civic Type R. It is the 3rd generation of Honda Civic TCR car, and it's making its international debut here at Snetterton. It's not raced anywhere else in the world, and Chris Smiley, our reigning champion, carrying the number 1 on the side of his car, has the honour, and I'd imagine a considerable amount of pressure, of running that car in its competitive debut. And he's done a really good job, actually, to qualify 4th on the grid. It was 5th fastest in qualifying, but obviously with Brad Kent being sent to the rear, he moves up onto the 2nd row of the grid. It looks the business as well, that new Civic. Sounds really good. A very different engine note to all of the other TCR cars too, and already has been generating an awful lot of fan interest. He's not the only one that we need to keep an eye out for here, though. Some other interesting names on the grid. Alex Lee won more races than anybody else in 2022. He's back again. Newly announced as a Hyundai Junior driver is Alex. So too Brad Kent, actually. They've had slightly varying starts to their journey as a Hyundai Junior driver. Brad Kent at the back, whereas Alex Lee has managed to qualify in the top 5. You can see him there just behind Chris Smiley's brand spanking new Honda Civic, chassis number 0001. It is literally the first one to roll off the Yas Motorsport production line. And behind him, Alex Lee will definitely be one to watch. Celebrated his 18th birthday yesterday, did Alex Lee. And today, celebrating a birthday, is Jensen Brickley. Jensen Brickley moving up from Ford Fiesta Racing. He is 19 today. Didn't want me to tell anyone that, but sorry, Jensen, I just did. We all wish you a very happy birthday and hope that you have a good pair of results to celebrate with. 8th on the grid in his debut in the championship is not a bad way to start. Well, Paul O'Neill has hot-footed it over to the commentary box, and I know he's as excited as I am about what we're about to see here. I ran through a few of the storylines just now, but Paul, we could be here all day talking about all of the exciting things coming out of TCR UK.
It's a very proud day.
Yeah.
I know for you, TCR UK, Stuart and Nicky Lyons, Ash Gallagher, everybody involved. Honestly, how they've got this grid together is brilliant. The drivers are happy, the cars are fast, the cars look great. The grid looks amazing, and I've got to say, it's great to watch the rise and rise of this championship, and the racing is phenomenal, and I really can't wait for this, mate, and yeah, this is good. From every angle, these cars look brilliant.
They really do, and more of these new generation cars coming in as well. It just starts to look even more professional than it even did last year. The quality of driver, I think, has increased as well, and I think having people like Josh Files coming into the championship, even if it is just a one-off entrant, which it's maybe, we're not quite sure what his plans are yet, he is a great benchmark for the others. He's been racing TCR cars for as long as TCR cars have existed, and he's not that much faster than anyone else, and actually was beaten provisionally to the pole position by a relative youngster.
And that's what I was going to say. It's not like he's gone off up the road. No. That's what you would expect him to come in, and you'd expect him to be in the top three. He was second on the road, and unfortunately for Bradley Kent, he had that problem with the infringements technical. But look at it, it's just great. And Area Motorsport, I've got to say, very well done. Front row for you guys. And yeah, what are they, 1, 2, 3 and 5?
Yeah. 4 cars in the top 5 position. I mean, that is domination, isn't it, really? They have got those cars sorted.
Yeah, they have. And, you know, look at the Feeder Series Civic Cup. They've got drivers coming in through that, but they're doing the business in this as well. It's brilliant. There's so many good stories when we really need them in the world, you know, and this is great to be a part of and to see what it's all about. People talking about it, people talking about the prize money.
Yes.
The prize money, a big thing. £1,000 for pole position, £15,000 for the winner of the championship, yeah. Money for winning races, second, third. It's what it's about, and that's why people have come here, because there's something to race for, and it's just great to be part of. Look at the crowd. I mean, the BRSCC, Paul McLennan, they must be over the moon with this.
Absolutely. We are back with the BRSCC, with whom we started our journey 5 years ago, and we've ran in a roundabout sort of way, ended up back with them, and it could not have happened at a better time. I think the BRSCC, one of the real up-and-coming clubs. It sounds a strange thing to say. They've been around for decades, but they've gone through a big rebrand recently. A lot of hard work being done with their series, which of course are going to be supporting TCR through the season. They already get good crowds at their events, but no doubt about it, the interest that is being generated by TCR UK has brought the fans in. Some nice weather as well, and I really hope we can put on a show for them. Green flag lap about to get underway then. Before they do head off the grid, Paul, your predictions, your thoughts ahead of this race. Is this a nailed-on victory for Josh Files? If not, who's going to challenge him?
Well, I'd be surprised if he didn't win this, but I've got to say, the way I've seen Adam Shepherd develop as a driver, Bruce Winfield develop as a driver, if you count out Chris Smiley, you're stupid. Stuart Lyons there.
He's found a job he can do at last ball.
I don't know if he did a good job with that flag waving there, to be fair, but the most important person in that relationship is obviously his wife, Nicky Lyons, who is so involved with how this championship's evolved. It's just great to see so many stories. But like you say, I look at this top 10. I mean, Callum Newsham was one of my favourites to win maybe the first round. I know he's had a few problems, but Jensen Brickley, I've got to say, that is a fantastic position to qualify in 8th. And a lot of cars are out of position in this, Andy, and there's a lot of fast cars that are out of position.
Let's remind everyone then how they will line up for round number 1 of the 2023 TCR UK Championship. Josh Files inherits pole position for the season opener, and he's got his Area Motorsport teammate Bruce Winfield on a real return to form alongside him. Adam Shepherd, who very nearly rallied back to be a proper championship contender in the back half of last year, starts 3rd, and then the first non-Area Motorsport Hyundai is Chris Smiley in the shiny new Honda. Alex Lee will start from 5th. I think he might be a bit disappointed with that. Watch for him to be aggressive in the early stages. And Lewis Brown, making his debut in the championship in the Cupra, will start on the outside of row 3. Callum Newsham moving from a Cupra into a Hyundai i30 for this year, starts 7th alongside Jensen Brickley, the birthday boy. Joe Marshall-Burke's a bit of an underdog perhaps as well, ex-Ginetta and MX-5 racer, starting 9th alongside Scott Sumpton, who moves now to Restart Racing to team up with Chris Smiley. Ex-BTCC man Carl Boardley starts 11th alongside the youngest driver on the grid, Oliver Cottam, in 12th position. Another one of those new shape Audis. Brad Hutchison is in the older spec Audi and will start 13th alongside returnee and former championship runner-up Dan Kirby. Alistair Camp, former champion in the Civic Cup, will start from 15th alongside Darren Lewis, who makes his debut in a TCR car, having formerly raced in the Touring Car Trophy. Matthew Wilson and Darrell Wilson together on row number 9. Towards the back of the top 20 on what we hope will be a 24-car grid, we've got Rick Kerry, BMW stalwart, but racing an older-shaped front-wheel drive Cupra and still very much finding his feet. Gary Townsend, another ex-Ginetta and MX-5 racer, completes the top 20 ahead of racing rookie George Jackson. He's done some track days in the past. This is a massive leap into the unknown for him. He starts 21st after a spin in qualifying alongside Steve Gales. And then the two at the back who had dramas yesterday. Jack Constable with mechanical issues that kept him out of, both free practice and qualifying. Actually didn't turn a lap yesterday. Let's hope they've got the car fixed. He's out on the grid and will start from the back with Bradley Kent, as we've documented, fastest in qualifying, thrown to the back of the grid, and he is going to be desperately trying to move to the front. Realistically then, looking at Jack and Brad at the back of the field, Paul, how high do we think they can go? I know Brad mentioned reverse grid race was really his focus. Is that achievable, do you think?
I think the grid's so strong now in the midfield, it'll be a difficult shout to be able to do that. But I don't see why not. All it needs is, 4 places at the first on the first lap, and then after that, you don't know how people are going to concertina up, and just making the right decision will be what's on Jack Constable's mind, to be fair. I think Bradley Kent is the one that's going to be really difficult. But he's going to pick places off as well, but I don't think he'll be as far up as Jack Constable is. But he hasn't done that many laps, Jack, and he's not going to know what the circuit's like.
And of course, if we get a safety car early on, that really plays into the hands of Bradley Kent, because that 10-second delay that he's got, that will all be eradicated. He'll catch right back up to the tail of the group and might then be able to start making some overtakes. Well, place your bets, everyone, for the race, for the championship, or just sit back and enjoy the show. It's going to be a really good start, I'm sure, to the 2023 TCR UK Championship. Josh Viles sharing the front row with his teammate Bruce Winfield. The red lights are on. They will go out now, and we are away and racing in 2023, and Bruce Winfield has made a really good start from the outside of row number 1. He will challenge Josh Files for the lead towards Riches for the first time and might just clear the Elantra, which he does. Chris Smiley pokes up the inside as well. Shepherd goes second, Smiley bails out of it, and Josh Files is down to third already. It's still a Hyundai 1-2-3, but not necessarily in the order we expected. Smiley moves to cover there from Lewis Brown as Brad Kent gets going from the pit lane, actually. That was probably safer. Alex Lee into the side of Callum Newsham's car, but already, Paul, the order does not resemble what I thought it would.
No, not at all. A really bad start, wasn't it? That from Josh Files. He's now down in 4th because Chris Smiley has got past him in that new car. So Chris will be driving on the seat of his pants trying to figure out what's going on with the car. Bradley Kent will just be happy that he's not on the grass like that. That was a wild moment, wasn't it, coming out of Palmer's?
Might have been Carl Boardley, that, and diving up the inside of Callum Newsham goes... no, that's Boardley. So Carl Boardley is into the top half dozen or so. Brilliant start from Carl. Told me yesterday he was going to get his elbows out, and he is absolutely living up to that promise. Bruce Winfield, though, his second event in this car, of course, debuted the i30 at the back end of last year at Snetterton. Didn't really show the true pace in the wet, I don't think, but here in the dry, this is the Bruce Winfield of old.
Yeah, definitely, and just seeing a wide apex there from Adam Shepherd in P2, so yeah, they're all getting into each other here, aren't they? And Cottam there in that Audi. Darren Lewis trying to get involved in that really bright coloured Audi. He's dropping just a bit further back than he'll want, but great start from the guys everywhere. They're just trying to get through the first lap.
Yeah, absolutely. So Carl Boardley on the move. It was Dan Kirby, by the way, we saw on the grass coming out of Palmer's. He's just got past Oliver Cottam, but then locks up and goes straight on. So Dan Kirby, former runner-up in the championship, winner of a race at Brands Hatch a couple of years ago, but he loses a handful of places there just as he was starting to make some progress. So round Coram they go then at the end of what's been a lively opening lap of the race, and it is Bruce Winfield who looks as though he will lead them through at the end of lap 1. Alistair Camp there in the Pro Alloys Racing Hyundai i30 making his TCR Series debut as well. And towards the back of the field, the battling as intense as it is at the front, although Winfield making good his escape, already 1.2 seconds clear of Adam Shepherd, then Josh Files third, and then Chris Smiley in fourth on the back of the podium battle on a day in which he said he'd be happy with 2 top 5s. I reckon maybe a podium is doable.
Yeah, and there's another doable thing going on there. Callum Newsham down the inside of Bordley. Good, nice, respectful racing through the hairpin. I've just seen Darrell Wilson fly through. I think he's like 6 places up, 6 or 7 places up. So Darrell is flying in that Vauxhall Astra, or the Opel Astra there, that red car there. Jack Constable right up as well in 15th, you just pointed out.
Yeah, so that is, what, 7 places gained or something like that already for the Audi. In fact, there he is, just going up the inside, or trying to, of one of the other Coopers. That Cooper's even, that's Jensen Brickley. But Jack Constable, the white, grey and red Audi behind him, is on a mission. There is Brad Kent then, fastest man in qualifying yesterday. He's not last anymore. He's found a way past Steve Gales, but the rest of the pack, Paul, is a long way up the road still.
Yeah, definitely. But look at this, and Shepherd's just, that car always looks nervous when Shepherd's driving that white Hyundai, isn't he? And the Elantra, the newer car, with Josh Files, he's going to be looking to try and pounce and get past him, but that is going to be a difficult one to do. Bruce Winfield in the pound seats here in the lead.
Now, I know on the face of it, it's a good thing for Bruce Winfield. He's pulling a big gap. He's clearly got good early pace. It's not cold here today, though, Paul, is it? How concerned should Bruce be about looking after those front tyres?
Well, I don't think they should be that concerned, because those both cars in your picture, Files and you've just seen an oversteering Shepherd, they've got them cars set up so nervous. Look at the front wheels twitching to try and keep up with what the rear's trying to do. Look at it sliding through Coram and then into Murray's the final corner. So everyone's struggling with rear tyre temperature, and that isn't the temperature of the air. It's just because they've got them set up nervous at the rear to look after the fronts, which you were just pointing to a second ago.
And everyone's been saying as well that for some reason this weekend the Snetterton track is not yielding a lot of grit, particularly through the low-speed corners. Everyone's suffering with a little bit of mid-corner oversteer, so that's why we're seeing the cars really sliding around more than usual. Bruce Winfield leads the way. Adam Shepherd has set the fastest lap, though, and remember that is helpful for his championship campaign. Joe Marshall, that is, up the inside of Jensen Brickley. I think I misidentified the 2 Audis before. That is Joe Marshall, who was on the tail of the Cupra. He is now ahead of the Cupra, though, and Joe Marshall on his TCR UK debut goes past the birthday boy, also making his first appearance, but Jensen Brickley doing a good job to be inside the top 10.
Yeah, definitely one to watch over the course of the year. And Gary Townsend getting a hip and a shoulder from Brad Kent. He won't like that so much as they then go side by side into Palmer's. Is this going to work out? Gary Townsend having none of it, even though that car is the pole position car from yesterday on track, but it looks like it'll be job done now down to the hairpin.
No.
Wow. Gary Townsend, go on, Gaz. Wow, all right. Wind your neck in, mate. He's thinking Bradley Ken. He's like, mate, I'm well faster. And he's like, having none of it. Fair play. Right, the battling for position. Why not?
Absolutely. They've got George Jackson ahead, who'll be loving having these two in his mirrors. Is Brad going to dive up the inside into Oggies? Thinks about it, but that Audi is good on the brakes. Or maybe not so good that time. Gary just outbraked himself slightly. Bradders is now up the inside line, and I think is about to move through them. But this is all outside of the top 20 still, and he needs to be getting past these drivers as quickly as possible if he's got any chance of breaking into the top 10. But that is certainly looking like a difficult feat. Rick Kerry there battling away with Matt Wilson, one of the few older shaped Cupras still on the grid, and Rick Kerry not a man that we really know for his front wheel drive experience.
No, not at all. Rear wheel drive touring car driver from back in the day. BMW, I remember.
Yep.
I think it was a
diesel, wasn't it? First ever diesel, I think.
1 Series diesel BMW. But yeah, onwards and upwards for him. This looks like it's going to end up being a fast one, isn't it? Look, so you've got the fastest lap, Josh Files. That's Adam Shepherd in your picture. And them boys at the front. I tell you what, they're firing in now. Look at the rear of that car of Shepherd's into the hairpin. Wilson's hairpin. Trying to get that slowed down is hard work when you've got a nervous car like that. But that's how they like them. Shepherd likes them, Hyundai's like that.
Yeah, we've seen that consistently in the past. When he's quick, it's because the car is really on the nose and really squirming around behind him. Josh Files sets the fastest lap of the race, but you're right, Adam Shepherd was quicker than the leader at that time as well, and these three may all be running out of the same team, but they are absolutely gunning for good results for themselves. Meanwhile, Chris Smiley, reigning champion, banking the points exactly as he said he wanted to do, but he's got the attentions right now of Lewis Brown, who, for my money, had pole position pace yesterday, just couldn't ever hook up a clean traffic-free lap, and yet again he is stuck behind Chris Smiley, who, for all this talk of just testing the car, is not going to pull out of the way, is he?
No, he isn't, but I will say Brown looks fast, and that car's hooked up. That car has got, like you say, that car has got podium position places here, and the speed of that thing now is starting to take effect.
Now he's in clean air. Let's see over the next lap or so what sort of lap times he can pump out, because he's the best part of 2 seconds adrift of Josh Files in third, who of course is fastest man on the track right now. Out of Brundle and Nelson they go. That the fight for 4th position. Then Alex Lee having a lonely race at the moment in 6th. Callum Newsham 7th. Carl Boardley is 8th from 11th on the grid. Good effort in his first TCR race, with Joe Marshall-Burks and Jensen Brickley still completing the top 10. Bradley Kent was 21st at the beginning of this lap, and Jack Constable was 15th. So the top 10 definitely a possibility for Jack Constable, but I think already the Essex and Kent Motorsport team will be doing a bit of a safety car dance, if there is such a thing, because that could be the only thing that saves their race. Across the line we go then. That is 4 laps in the book, and that time around it was a 58.3 for the leader, a 58.1 for Shepherd, and a 58.0 for Josh Files, who continues to lap a little bit more quickly than the 2 cars directly ahead of him, and the top 3 covered by just 1.6 seconds. Great battle here coming towards us, and this is Jack Constable on the tail of Brad Hutchison. There are bits of Audi dangling off at least 2 of the cars on that particular group. I think this looks like a fairly feisty little scrap.
I'd say so. There's a lot. Oh, that's a move. Constable down the inside, and that is going to bring Oliver Cotton. This is like the Audi Championship, isn't it?
There are 4 of them together. 2 of the Gen 2, 3 of the Gen 2, 2 of the Gen 2 cars, and 2 of the older spec cars. So 4 Audis altogether. Oliver Cotton's car looks like it's been in a banger race. He has definitely had a few love taps out on track. He's getting stuck in, though, the teenager, and looking to the inside of Brad Hutchison. Not quite close enough to do it into Agostini, but Constable has gone through that. Now puts Jack into 12th position, but he's 7 seconds off the back of the top 10, Paul.
Yeah, still he's pushing on forward, isn't he? Oliver Cotton's car's got a lot of damage, like you say, and that was on the first lap. I did see someone was side by side with him and they got into each other, so yeah, it's a big hit, that is. But he's got his head down, he's still in the race, the youngster, the 16-year-old. He'll be happy to just finish this race and see where he can get. But good stuff, isn't it, from a lot of these drivers. Dan Kirby fully involved.
He is indeed after that grassy moment earlier on. That's Adam Shepherd. Adam Shepherd going slowly, just in the background at Palmer's. I don't know if that is Williams, sorry, I don't know if that's related, but Adam Shepherd was off the pace, and surely it's not another mechanical problem for the man who was plagued by them last year. Darryl Wilson is in the pit lane as well, with damage by the looks of it to the right front corner, but I'm sure, Paul, that I saw Adam Shepherd going slowly, and if that's the case, that is a heartbreaker.
That'll be a nightmare if he is. We'll have to see whereabouts. Yeah. I would expect that car to be coming in the pits. It's coasting. Yeah, Adam Shepherd coasting through our shot there. What a disaster.
Oh dear, that was an all too familiar sight last year, wasn't it? He is quick, there's no doubt about it. Oliver Cotton going a bit off the pace as well. Is he? Ali Camp's gone through. Is he bailing for the pit lane? I think he is, Paul.
Yeah, that car was looking super slow as well, wasn't it? So a couple of problems now. That could be a missed gear change or something. What an absolute nightmare that is for Cotton. He was looking like he was just getting out there. Oh, who's that for?
Let's have a look.
Black on white.
Race controller telling us it is number 17, which is Brad Hutchison being warned about exceeding track limits. There is Oliver Cotton's car. I mean, he's had a few big hits down the right-hand side, and do enough of that, Paul, and you will do some damage.
Yeah, that is a big hit, that, isn't it? I can't see from any kind of colour. The only bit I seen there was a yellow, but that'll be from the stickers from the tyre manufacturer on the side there. So, yeah, that's a bit of a shame, that is.
Meanwhile, Joe Marshall, 8th position, sorry. Jensen Brickley 9th, and Scott Sumpton now moves into that magic 10th position. These, then, are the 2 surviving Area Motorsport Hyundais at the front of the field. Bruce Winfield and Josh Files are 1.7 seconds apart, and on the previous lap, Josh Files was actually a 10th slower than Bruce Winfield, which is interesting. 2 different shapes of Hyundai here, Paul. The i30, the more traditional kind of hot hatch shape TCR. The Elantra, I think by far the biggest TCR car, certainly, that we've got on this grid. How do you think that might affect not only the outright pace and handling of the cars, but the way that the cars develop over a race stint?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? But you would think of the hatchback shape, which isn't Josh Files. The hatchback shape would be slower down the straights. And I've got to say, the way that Files is driving that car, I would expect him to win this race now, because that car looks very nervous on turning, and if it's still nervous on turning, it means that it's working its fronts a lot better than, say, maybe the car that's leading this race, Bruce Winfield. So I would expect the Elantra to be stronger at the end of the race. It's a very slippy shit, and there you go. You've got the fastest lap. It did look like he took about 8 or 9 tenths out of him.
8 tenths. Good eyesight, Paul, or good get work, I'm not sure. 8 tenths quicker than the race leader, and that is a 9/10 of a second gap now between the top two. Josh Files is coming for Bruce Winfield. As I say, they are teammates, and of course, Bruce, we know, is here to try and win the championship this year. Giles does not have a full season plan just yet, so how hard we go against Bruce? He'll want the win, though, for sure. Josh is not the kind of driver who likes to settle for second place. So down into Agostine they go, about to put a lap on Adam Shepherd.
Yeah, he must be just trying to stay out to finish this, but must be some kind of intermittent problem. Interesting. It'll be interesting to catch up with him after this race and see what's gone on with him there. But I would expect this lap or the next lap, look at the braking efficiency of Files' car. He's on with him now. I think Winfield knows he's going to be done for here. 2 area cars, how hard is he going to battle?
Now, this is pure speculation here, Paul, but one of the things we've often said of Bruce Winfield in the past is that he struggles on cold tyres. He's stronger at the end of the race than he is the start. That wasn't the case today. He went off like a rocket at the start of the race, and I wonder whether maybe they tweaked the set to be good on the short run to try and help him, because there's no doubt about it, as we go into the second half of the race, he is not as quick as Josh Files, who is right on his rear bumper now as they make their way towards the bomb hole, but it does seem that maybe either setup or just the way that they both approach those early laps of the race, it's favouring Josh Files in the long run.
Yeah, Josh is just getting to every apex, and his car looks stiffer, it looks more on its nose, but Winfield, it just looks like he's struggling to get to a lot of these apexes. The car is struggling with the front grip of the car. So, yeah, there you go. Out the way from Adam Shepherd, the lap gets put on him. What a shame. Yeah. He was looking very strong. But, yeah, for me, Winfield is really, really struggling. But there's 11 minutes to go, and I would say that's enough time for our second place man, Josh Files, to just figure out what he wants to do and yeah, where he wants to get past him. But we've just seen that shot of the FL5, the Honda of Chris Smiley. I think he'd be well happy if he can just finish 4th, if I'm being really honest, because he'll have loads of information and then he can go again, and it's just trying to get the points in the bag for now for him.
Yeah, he told me yesterday a few times, really, that he is targeting 2 top 5 finishes. Well, at the moment, he's right on target. He is lapping quicker than the race leader. In fact, the next 4 cars behind Bruce Winfield are all lapping quicker than him. Josh Files, Lewis Brown, Chris Smiley and Alex Lee. And for the latter 2, Smiley and Lee, they just did their personal best lap of the race on the 7th lap in these conditions. That is pretty impressive long-run pace from Messrs Smiley and Lee. And those 2 are within 2 seconds of each other. Smiley staying within a second of Lewis Brown ahead of him. Out of Oggies, 10 minutes of racing to go, and Bruce Winfield, in fairness, Paul, not actively defending this lead right now. Josh Files isn't exactly weaving around in his mirrors, flashing the headlights, so perhaps content to sit there for the time being.
Yeah, and you're not allowed radio communication from driver to pit and the other way as well. So, yeah, I mean, maybe they've said something before the race about, let's just not do this and not do that as teammates. But I'll be interested to see how this goes. But I would say Josh Files has got the faster car, definitely, the last time I seen it.
Now, Bradley Kent update. He is 15th. This is the battle for 13th that he's catching now. So that is Dan Kirby and Alistair Camp. Kent, though, is, I reckon, about 10 seconds away from breaking into 10th place. Scott Sumter at the moment still holding on to 10th place, but he's only 2.5 seconds clear of Jack Constable. So Constable, I think, will make it into the top 10. Brad Kent needs to do a bit more overtaking and cannot waste any time now between these next 2.
Yeah. Look at this, though. Winfield is... It looks like it's status quo. That's not status quo. Callum Newsham. Oh, gutted for him. He's had a nightmare. Great pre-season. Not fantastic. Whereabouts is that? That could be a safety car.
Oh, it's the inside of Coram, Paul. I can just see him out of the window, and you're right. I think that will be a safety car. It's on the inside of the track, but he's not very far away from the edge of the track. And the Norscott liveried Hyundai i30, which Callum's really been enjoying. He says it just does everything better than that older shaped Cupra he had been racing. Unfortunately, it's doing nothing right now because it's pulled off at the side of the road, and that means Jack Constable is into 10th place.
Yeah, so Jack Constable into 10th. The leaders I mean, it won't matter to them too much if a safety car does come out. I'm only speculating, but who it will be brilliant for is Bradley Kent, because he'll get on the back of maybe having a... that's got to be a safety car. That's the left front of the car. He's close to the track there. Yeah. I can hear a lot of whistling and things from the marshals in my ears from some audio, so I would say that they're thinking of... They may be thinking of it. They can't leave that car there, can they? So... Anyway, whatever. It's there, and we're still racing. Let's crack on. Brad Kent is now in the clutches, isn't he, of getting past these guys, Kirby and... Who is that there in front of him?
That was Campy, Alistair Campy,
so
who is 13th, Paul. Wow. That's not a bad effort, is it?
That's a great effort from Campy. He's only going to get faster in that car. Another person who's only going to get faster is Lewis Brown, and he's not really got away from Chris Smiley, though, is he? As the leaders now come into shot.
Yes, and into a yellow flag zone at Coram. There's still no sign of a safety car, so it looks like maybe they're going to try and cover it under double-waved yellows for the time being.
That's not good. You can't. If you have oversteering in that car, you are. Yeah. That's not good. That's not good. Doesn't matter if you're overtaking someone, or is Darrell Wilson trying to get back out in his Opel Astra, Vauxhall Astra?
There's a lot of damage to the front. They've patched it up with tape, haven't they? But you have to imagine maybe the steering was out of alignment or something, hence why he came into the pit lane. Anyway, race leaders go through, 4 tenths between them. It is an Area Motorsport flying formation at the moment at the head of the field, and Bruce Winfield really... The body language of Josh Farr's car is not saying attack to me. Now, maybe he's just waiting until the last lap to really try and attack and surprise Bruce Winfield. Maybe he is thinking big picture here. Winfield is a championship contender this year, we expect, and he want to take points away from Bruce necessarily if Josh himself isn't doing the full steam.
That's the only reason I can think of that we're not seeing an attack, because it would have happened by now, because that car looks super fast in Josh Files' hands. But Alistair Camping at 45, I'm impressed with this run. This is the best I've seen him drive, and this is what Alistair is all about. He's a champion in our formula, but he is a fantastic driver. So I'm expecting big things from him, and I'm seeing them. So it'd be good to see him on a reverse grid. I'd like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So he is 12th actually now, with the demise of Callum Newton. So Brad Hutchison in 11th is the man on the outside looking in as far as the top 10 reversal is concerned. It would be Jack Constable and Scott Sumpton on the front for now. Brad Kent, though, really struggles to get past Dan Kirby. Runs out way wide over the ground. Again, demonstrate the strength in depth we've got this year. Bradley Kent just can't scythe his way through the pack in the way that he might have been able to do over the last year or so in this situation. And it was though, well, 12th and absolute best is where we can expect to see him, but right now, struggling to improve upon 14th. There are 5.5 minutes to go in this opening round of the TCR UK Championship for 2023. Josh Files is close enough to Bruce Winfield here, isn't he? That if Bruce makes a mistake, Josh is going to go through. I wonder whether maybe, rather than out-and-out attacking Bruce, he might try and play the canny game here, fill the mirrors of the race lead, and then if Bruce makes a mistake, he kind of has to go for it.
Bruce knows that he's got exceptional traction out of them slow-speed corners, and he also knows he is in a bit of a nightmare scenario in the high-speed stuff, because that Elantra of Josh Files looks unreal. So it's going to be in a fast corner that he's going to have to try and sling it down the inside or around the outside. Carl Boardley looks like he's just getting his head in gear now, and he's kind of... Alex Lee, I thought he'd be a lot better than this, you know.
Yeah, fastest in practice yesterday, for what that's worth, but hasn't quite got the car hooked up since then. That's George Jackson in the pit lane, by the way. Issues with the left front, it seems, for the newcomer to racing, anything, let alone TCR cars. So his Cupra is in the pit lane. This is the fight for third place. It's not actually a three-way fight, although Adam Shepherd, proving a point, is catching these two, even though he's a lap down after his visit to the pit lane. But Chris Smiley might have something here for Lewis Brown. In the last couple of minutes, Chris looks to be the quicker of the two. And again, I know he says he's just trying to score decent points this weekend, but he won't turn down the opportunity for a podium. That is Jack Constable. Jack Constable has pulled over at the side of the road. He had just overtaken Scott Sumpton for 9th, and unfortunately, that is the Audi at the side of the road and going no further.
Absolute nightmare, isn't it? Why so many problems with these new generation cars? It's a nightmare, isn't it? But let's talk about the leaders. They're still at it, aren't they? And it there's not been, he's close enough to attack now, so it's through bomb hole and corner. Watch how close he gets now. The high-speed corners, that Elantra is just, it's beautifully four-wheel drifting through there. But Winfield doesn't look like he is having to worry too much about his teammate behind, and it's here where he breaks up. But look at this now. So he's close on the way in, but the traction that Hyundai in the lead has. Oh, there's a big change, isn't there?
Yeah, Smiley ahead of Brown, who is sideways. Brown has really been struggling with the rear of that Cooper all weekend. And Chris Smiley, Paul, is on the podium. Not a bad debut for the new car.
Oh, not at all. He'd be well happy with that if he can do it. And he's defending already, isn't he? Look, as they then come into shot. But Chris Smiley's gapped him now.
Yeah.
So big sideways from Lewis Brown, and that's it. Game over for him.
He had some spectacular slides in qualifying yesterday, did Lewis. They threw a completely different setup on the car between free practice and qualifying. It made it a lot quicker, but I'm not convinced it solved the lack of rear grip that he'd been suffering with. Remember that Adam Shepherd is not fighting him for position here. Adam Shepherd is laps down and is officially now being scored in 19th position. That will become 18th place next time by because of Jack Constable off the road. And now Brad Hutchison moves up to inherit the race 2 pole position. Hutchison, now, that means the battle between Hutchison, Camp and Kent is for the race 2 pole position, Paul. So that really is the battle we want to see. A lap and a half to go, and those 3 cars all in contention now for a top grid position in that second race, and that would mean a huge amount to any one of those 3.
Definitely, and Brad Hutchison's had some fantastic results around here in everything he's raced in. I think he had his first ever race win in a mini challenge car here. George Jackson out the way, good driving from him. Brad Kent will not want to see that at the apex.
Dropped right back though, hasn't he, Brad, all of a sudden? I just teed this up that he was right on the tail of Camp and Hutchison, and yet something has happened and he's faded away. Whether he's had a moment, I don't know, but the Hyundai Veloster, which Brad is making his debut in, of course, this is the car that Lewis Kent actually won the most recent race in TCR UK in, here at a soggy Snetterton at the back end of last year. Well, that is the car that Bradley is pedalling very rapidly this weekend, just not so rapidly on the previous lap. Was it a slow lap for Brad particularly? So must have been a moment at the beginning of this, the 12th lap of the race then, that saw him lose that time. But it still means that Alistair Camp versus Brad Hutchison is a battle worth watching. So is this one though, Paul, as we start the final lap.
Yeah, I think that Bruce has just got a little bit more in the corners that you need to have more to defend from people, and Josh Files is an absolute class act, and I can't wait to speak to these two if it finishes like this, because I want to know the score, because this has been a great drive from everyone here, but especially those top 3.
Absolutely right. Adam Shepherd, as I said, continuing to prove a point here by running as quickly as the cars with whom he should have been battling, really, for a podium place. I don't think Lewis Brown is in any danger of being caught by Alex Lee, at least, so 4th place. Not a bad start to the campaign for young Lewis, who's moved up from the mini challenge to race in TCR UK this season. Should have made his debut actually here at Snetterton at the back end of last year, but his actual competitive debut has been impressive.
It's so close for 10th place, you know. I'm just looking on the TSL screen, and yeah, Camp and Hutchison are at it, but these are not the people in your screen. That's the lapped Shepherd, and he's really struggling actually now, Lewis Brown. Is he really understeering? The front axle not working, the car won't turn in, and he's really pushing on, and it doesn't help when you've got Adam Shepherd behind you in a car that was in front of you on the road and pushing you along.
Just got a glimpse in the background of Camp and Hutchison heading for Agostini, nose to tail, but Hutchison is still ahead in the blue Bondit Audi. So the older shape Audi actually about to get one of the better results for Audi here today. Joe Marshall-Burks is 7th in the Gen 2 car, so that's some decent points for him as well on his debut in the championship. A few corners to go now then. Josh Files again close to Bruce Winfield, but I'm not convinced he's going to have an all-out attack here for race victory. And Bruce Winfield might be about to open up his account in... Oh, that's Rick Kerry. Rick Kerry pulling over at the side of the road then. That is up at the exit of the Wilson hairpin, I think. And that's a shame on the final lap. His race coming to an end. But Bruce Winfield is coming out of the final corner with Josh Files asking all the right questions of him. It'll be a 1-2 finish for Area Motorsport and a 4th career TCR UK victory for Bruce Winfield. Bruce Winfield wins here at Snetterton, and I think that's going to be a very emotional interview actually between Bruce and Paul O'Neill in a few moments. Bruce lost his father unfortunately over the winter, a really missed and well-loved member of the TCR paddock over the last couple of years, and Bruce, I'm sure, will want to dedicate this to him. What a fantastic result it is. Now, what about 10th position? Brad Hutchison, Alistair Camp, Bradley Kent, a drag race to the line. And I think that Brad Hutchison is just going to deny Alistair Camp what would have been a sensational race to pole position. It is 10th Hutchison, 11th Camp, 12th for Bradley Kent. He just misses out on the pole. Meanwhile, car 14, Dan Kirby, has been given a 5-second track limits penalty. It doesn't actually make a difference, though, because he was 13th on the road, and that is where he will remain even after the penalty is applied. So makes little difference to him. 3 fantastic feel-good stories, though. Bruce Winfield, for the reasons I just covered, what a fantastic win that is. Josh Files' debut in the championship, first race in the UK for the Elantra, and it's straight on the podium. And Chris Smiley, what can we say about Chris Smiley? The first ever race for the FL5 Civic Type R in TCR competition anywhere in the world, and it's on the podium. Brilliant stuff from all 3 of them. Lewis Brown, impressive as well on his debut. Alex Lee comes home in 5th ahead of Carl Bordley, Joe Marshall-Burks, Jensen Brickley, Scott Sumpton, and Brad Hutchison just by a car length hanging on to that race 2 pole position in 10th position. Great stuff from TCR UK. As we promised you, fantastic stuff from all of the drivers who made it to the end. We had a few fall by the wayside, unfortunately, but all in all, a really, really strong look to the grid for 2023. And who the championship contenders are going to be, well, honestly, I don't think anyone truly knows. It's going to be a lot of fun watching the story unfold, though, through the year, and we hope you'll tune in on the TCR UK platforms to enjoy the show as we make our way through the 15 races and 7 events through this season. So Area Motorsport were celebrating after qualifying, having all 4 of their cars in the top 5 positions on the grid. They don't quite manage to achieve that feat in the race. They've got 3 cars in the top 5, though, including the top 2 steps of the podium. Bruce Winfield claiming the race victory. Josh Files 2nd. Chris Smiley 3rd on that car's debut ahead of Lewis Brown and Alex Lee. Carl Bordley, shout out to Carl Bordley as well, 11th on the grid to 6th, and he really wasn't very happy when I spoke to him yesterday. The car was giving him a few niggly little problems, and he's driven it brilliantly there to 6th position. Joe Marshall-Burke 7th, Jensen Brickley 8th, Scott Sumpton 9th, Brad Hutchison completes the top 10 ahead of Alistair Camp and Bradley Kent. That was a fantastic scrap for 10th place towards the end. Dan Kirby 13th with a 5-second track limit penalty to boot, and Matthew Wilson gets 14th ahead of Gary Townsend. Darren Lewis, Rick Kerry, Darren Lewis, the last of the runners on the lead lap. Rick Kerry classified a lap down because he retired on the final lap ahead of Adam Shevin, who had that scheduled pit stop. So too did Steve Gales. George Jackson came in with an issue. Jack Constable stopped at the side of the road, as did Callum Newsham, and then there was damage to Darrell Wilson's car and Oliver Cottam's Porsche Racing Audi, which took them out of contention around halfway through the race. So Bruce Winfield, as I said, taking a hugely valuable race victory, but a very emotional one as well. And his father Paul, who, as I said, we lost in the last month or so, really, really missed within the TCR paddock. In fact, there is an award dedicated to Paul Winfield within the Miltech Sports Civic Cup, because that's the championship Bruce won a few years ago with the support of his father. And I think Bruce might just want to spend a moment or two composing himself here in the car before he gets out and chats to Paul O'Neill, because, my word, there must be a lot going through his mind right now. A return to form for Bruce, definitely, but this is one of those occasions where really the result is secondary to the emotion, to the story behind this result. And Bruce Winfield gets out of the car. He'll be greeted, no doubt, by the Area Motorsport team. And he has won the opening round of the TCR UK Championship for 2023. Stuart Lyons, our championship promoter, is there to congratulate him and support Bruce in what must be an emotionally charged moment. This Bruce Winfield, race winner for the 4th time in TCR UK, and down there to grab all of the emotion is Paul O'Neill.
Well, I think that says it all. Very difficult scenes down here. Race winner Bruce Winfield. He's yeah. Great win. Nicky Lyons is giving him a bit of a hug, and unfortunately, all of us and Bruce lost his dad, Paul. I'm going to try and keep it together, mate. But that must mean the world, the absolute world to you, mate. It's great to see. I'll let you take your lid off, get yourself together. I could never imagine what it's like, mate, but your dad was a good man, and a loss to the paddock, a loss to the family, but your first thoughts, mate?
Like, couldn't have asked for a better start, could we? Oh, stood here crying on camera.
So am I, mate.
Yeah, obviously, being here without him's weird. And so, yeah, like, obviously qualified P2, was over the moon with that, to be fair. And then, yeah, to win, I couldn't have asked for it to go any better, really.
How was the car? It looked amazing. Great stuff. All the guys getting involved. That's proper stuff, that is. Proper stuff. Everybody wants to speak to you, mate. And as I say, look at all these people here. It's unbelievable. The car looked amazing. You looked amazing. It was a great race, and you just got your head down. And was there any time where you thought, I could be in trouble here? Because he's so fast in the Elantra, isn't he?
Yeah, he's yeah, we've spent a bit of time together, as you know, and yeah, we all know he's fast. I don't know what happened on the start. Obviously, just gave me the opportunity I needed to get in front. I tried to like not worry about what was going on behind me too much, just concentrate on my own race, and don't get too caught up on defending, and just do my own thing. And this got its advantages, that's got its advantages, and I think that's what I was strong in places where he maybe wasn't so strong. So yeah, great result.
Go and give your team and your family who are here big hug, mate. It was one of the best things I've seen for a long, long time.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Top man. Right, look at that. That is what you want to see. Area Motorsport with their first win of the season, and that's how much it means to them. Absolutely spot on. And I think this man who's with me now, Josh Fowles, you deserve a round of applause, because you were at it hard there, mate. And he just had a little bit here and a little bit there. You had a little bit here and there, and it was a battle, mate, but it was great racing and fair.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Bruce being in the same team, don't want to take too many risks with him. Yeah, we had the speed, but the Elantra's just a little bit lacking in the straights, but in the braking it's phenomenal. So he could pull away and just couldn't get close enough. So, but no, I'm super happy for Bruce, because obviously losing his dad this year, it's a big result for him, and we all miss Paul. So yeah, I'm chuffed for him, chuffed for the team, and I want to. So yeah, all good.
Yeah. Great stuff for Area Motorsport. The car looked super fast in the quick stuff, super fast, but the traction just didn't seem to be there.
Yeah, I mean, she's a long old girl, so getting her rotated is hard. So yeah, it's good in the high speed corners. It's good under braking. It just doesn't have the torque of the i30s and the other cars, so you lose too much on that initial out the corner. But yeah, that's what the BOP's for, and at the end of the day, they all deliver the same lap time. So happy days.
Perfect, good stuff. Josh, let's go and speak to Chris Smiley in the new FL5 Honda. He'll be made up with this result. This is a properly brilliant result. He's just talking with a few people. I don't want to get too involved in this, but I will do. I'm sticking the microphone right in here. He's with Lewis Brown. They're just having a little chat. Let's just get him here. Third place. Sorry, not you, fella. Nearly. Lewis, good job, though. Chris Smiley, brand new car, same team, one on the side. That is a proper result.
Yeah, that is literally the first race run I've done in it. We really were struggling all weekend with an electrical issue, which I told you about earlier. But yeah, to get our first race run, there's lots of things now that whenever you're following some of the faster cars at the front, it's you can sort of judge yourself off the other faster cars. But yeah, I'm delighted. P3, it was a bit unlucky for Lewis there at the end. He caught the back marker at the wrong place. But yeah, I think it's coming towards the last few laps, he'd ran out of tyres anyway. But yeah, perfect result. Yeah, it's good for all the sponsors. It's good for Honda in the first weekend to put the car on the podium on the first race. So yeah, it's a good start today, good solid points, and yeah, we haven't even scratched the surface with this thing yet. So
you got loads of different setups to put on it now, or was the car okay, good balance, but you just know, I'm going to do this, and this, and it should be miles better?
I know the areas where we need to improve. I know the areas where we need to improve it, but literally, as everyone knows, this is the first weekend this car has ran anywhere in the world. So the areas that we're looking to work on now, after being over a race distance, you have a better feeling for it. We've obviously got the data now, and the tyres have done a full run. So yeah, we've got to put it on his podium on its debut. I'm pleased about that.
Yeah. Top man, leave you to it. Excellent stuff. Carl Boardley, well, you're getting a bit of a handshake. Oh, don't worry, you can shake his hand. We'll let you do that. Looking good, mate, with all your little sponsors on there. You were in the fight straight away. Goodyear Diamond Trophy winner. It's quite cool.
It's quite cool, but it just means I'm older than everybody else, doesn't it?
I knew you'd say that.
No, it's good first time out.
yeah, just learning the car. Had some issues yesterday that we spoke about, but I think we've ironed those out now. And as a first run in the car, yeah, not too bad. Food for thought, and we can dial it in a bit more and go from there.
Setup-wise, what are you looking for? Have you got enough front end? Is the rear too nervous, or is it just traction? What kind of issues have you got, and what can you do?
Well, we're drivers, so we want everything, don't we? We want the best of every world. Yeah, I was hanging on a bit for all I was worth really towards the end, especially. So, but then I clashed wheels with someone first lap, so steering wheel went, you know. So then you're thinking, is it the setup? Is it this? Is it that? So now we'll do a bit of a set down, see where we're at, and then yeah, go again.
It's usual tin top stuff in it, mate. If you're not at 90 degrees left in a straight line, you're doing something wrong.
Exactly that, yeah.
Top man. Leave you to it, Carl. Spot on. Good effort. Lewis Brown. Come here, me old fruit. How are you, lad?
I'm not bad, you?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been, yeah, but I haven't seen you in ages.
I know, it's been too long. How's your hair?
Oh, it's short now. It's gone now, so.
Better than mine. Well done. That was you were having a good old battle, actually, with Chris, and then we come off that battle, and you were behind him. What happened?
Back mark. I don't know if he didn't see me but he trying to let me pass around bomb on and just end up hitting the marbles and just running straight off. So bit gutting car. I don't know if I could have kept Chris behind me, but I would have given it a good shot. I mean, I was counting down their minutes because the car already went off at the end, but. Yeah, do you know what I mean? We're still trying to learn this car. We're trying to get set up right, and we made a big change in that one. It seemed to be better, but now we know we're going in the right direction, so that's the main thing.
Nice to pick up some silverware, Tom Walker Memorial.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's great to take something home. But in that race 2, hopefully we can see if we can come through, make some changes again, and see what happens.
It looked very quick, mate, and I'm quite interested to see how you get on in the next one.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, hopefully we make some changes, and fingers crossed it's better.
Perfect. Leave it to it. Spot on. Well, that was fantastic. Loved being back on the TCR UK grid in 2023. Look at the next race, because that reverse top 10 grid is going to be awesome. We'll catch you later on.
What a classy move. That was a classy move. The championship leader is in the gravel trap.
Neil sends him off, and it's a kick of dirt on the out.